Hey guys, what's up?
Hello.
I'm Alex.
I'm Ari.
Today we are in Florida. Beautiful weather and sunshine. What's the date today? Today is March 8th,
Yes.
2016. I can't believe it's already the third month of the
know.
new year.
It's going by so quick.
I know.
My birthday's next month.
April 27th.
You
I
clapping for me?
already know what I'm gonna get you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You're lying.
No, I 100% know what I'm gonna get you.
What are you gonna get me?
Surprise.
You don't know. You're lying. You're trying to make yourself look good. So on day 2 of the conference, we attended a meeting, kind of.
It was a workshop.
Seminar workshop. There's
It was a workshop.
the word. That we kind of want to share with you guys some of the stuff that we learned from there, which was one of the most beneficial activity kind of group things that I've ever kind of experienced, really.
Really?
So, yeah.
It was really good. What we were talking about was conflict resolution, right? So in any relationship that you have, there's going to be conflict, especially in marriage. It happens. No one's perfect. It's not all rainbow and butterflies. It's not, you know, she's not Sweet Sally. I'm not. I mean, I'm kind of nice.
Sweet Sally.
But arguments are going to happen. Conflict is going to arise.
Tell them I'm sweet. Tell them I'm sweet.
You're the kindest, most loving, and most caring person I've ever met. And that's why I married you.
Thanks. There we go. But yeah,
anyways,
go ahead.
Conflict is going to happen, you guys, and what we want to talk to you about today is what we learned, and what we learned was how to deal with that conflict when it does arise. To understand your partner, to understand how you respond, and then from there to understand what the best way to respond is so that the conflict is resolved peacefully.
Correct.
Alright?
And while we were there, we took notes. I took notes on my phone. You use like the notebook and your phone. So we'll be reading from those as we go. No more rambling. We can just kind of jump into it. So one of the first things that we learned was that there are 4 personality types. And when it comes down to arguments and conflicts and stuff like that, and the way that you go about them, you fit into one of the 4 categories. So the first one is a winner. Okay, these are the kind of people that have to win the arguments. You pointed at me because yes,
Ari's a winner.
I am a winner.
She's all about facts. When did this happen? When did that happen? Well, you can't prove this because of that. You can't prove this, prove that. She's a winner.
Correct.
She has that gift to really fight with her words and drive a point home, whether or not it's true or not. If that's what she's going to drive home, she's going to drive it home.
So the winner personality type thinks the argument is over when somebody has won, and 9 times out of 10, the argument's not over until the winner wins. If that makes sense, I'm sure it does. The second personality type is a yielder, which means that they give us what?
The yielder is pretty passive. You know, they tend to not be accustomed to getting into conflicts. So when conflict arises, they're just kind of like they don't give in.
Yes.
They give in. So they're like, all right, whatever. Like
what he had said.
You win.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna fight.
Okay. What he had said was the people that are yielders think that their thought process is more of like, this relationship is more important than the conflict, so I yield to you. Which these kind of personalities, the first 3 honestly are not very effective. So winning is not very effective, and yielding is not necessarily effective because it kind of just
doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
You don't solve anything by doing that. You just kind of let stuff be buried under the hatchet for so long, you know, and that's just not a good way of dealing with conflict.
And then
number 3
go ahead.
is the withdrawer, which a lot of men tend to be like that with women, because men, for us, our way of resolving conflict is physical. If you got a problem, come see me. Let's go outside. Let's do this on the football field. That's how we resolve our conflict. We'll go hit somebody. But when you're with the woman and you're in a completely different environment and something happens, you can't resolve conflict the way that you're used to. And so for me, I know I struggled with that. Early on in our marriage, I would withdraw. So whenever she had a problem and she was voicing it and she started, you know, it all started coming out, I did not know how to handle that. So I withdrew and I kind of turned away because I'm not used to dealing with conflict. I'm not used to having someone in my face yelling, unless it's my coach, which is, that's whatever. That's not a conflict.
You take it out on the field. You get out there. You're like, whatever.
But when you're in a relationship with a strong woman who's a winner, you need to learn.
I'm smiling. It's not a good thing, though.
You need to learn how to resolve conflict. So that's why this whole thing was very beneficial for us to learn about each other more and how we can be better in our marriage.
Correct. And then going off of what you just said, the fourth one is actually the resolvers. These are the people that have a mindset of no matter what happens, we have to solve this thing, which is the most ideal personality type that you eventually want to fit into and grow so that you have that mindset no matter what problems arise. So
me and my growth, I feel like, once I realized that I was with a drawer, and that my initial reaction was to shut down, and I realized that just wasn't beneficial at all. My mindset is now switching to try and become a resolver, right? So I can't just shut down on my marriage. I can't just shut down with her, because then she's looking at me trying to resolve this thing, or just talk about her feelings, and if I turn away, that's only making things worse. So for me, I had to step up as a man and be like, all right, tell me what you're feeling. Let's try and resolve this thing. Let's try and
figure it out.
Yeah. Let's figure it out. I can compromise on some things. I can sacrifice that if that's what will make you happy. I want to resolve this thing for us and for our health.
Correct. Which you have actually gotten really good at.
Thank you.
Being a resolver. Like whenever we have like little issues and stuff.
It's not easy.
I mean, like, I feel like we're kind of used to, like, we're both very strong personalities. So me being a winner and him being shut off, like, he'll stay shut off. And we're just kind of both in our own lanes when it comes down to it. But lately, you've been able to be like, hey, what's up? Let's fix it, kind of thing. Which helps a lot, squashes a lot of issues, saves a lot of time. So, yeah, those are the 4 personality types. You want to strive for number 4 and be a resolver.
Couple notes that I took down. One of them is conflict is healthy if you know how to resolve it.
That's the key part of it.
It's okay if you guys get in arguments. It's okay if you guys disagree about some things, because it's healthy. That's what helps you guys grow when you resolve that conflict.
Correct. Something else that we learned is that this is probably more of a woman concern, that we tend to bring up past issues, and men, if a woman, or even women, if men are bringing up past issues, we were taught that it is actually because that past issue is not resolved. So it's something that if it's constantly brought up, you need to address that issue at hand, because it has not been completely addressed, solved, and moved on from the past.
That's a big point right there.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even us, like, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah, there have been multiple times where she makes a reference to something that happened 2-3 years ago, and not till this weekend when I learned that if she's doing it, then that means that it's not resolved.
Correct.
So we have to go back and discuss that issue one more time, just to just to really get everything out there, because there were some feelings that were left inside, and and she was holding resentment because of that. So if issues are arising from the past, that means that it's not resolved. That means that you guys need to sit down and to talk about it multiple times until
there's peace with it, almost. The next bullet that I wrote down is, he referred to it as the tunnel of chaos, which means that a lot of times people avoid it. People avoid issues because they're messy, but the most important part is that you have to enter it. It is messy, but on the other side is a higher level of intimacy, like connecting with your partner. Okay, the big truth, we had touched on this, was that the health and the future of your relationship is determined by how you handle conflict.
That's a big point. We heard a story while we were there last weekend about this man who could sit down with any couple, and within 15 minutes of just hearing them argue, he could determine whether or not that they would stay married or get divorced within 15 minutes, right? And that blew my mind. I was like, all right, that's kind of scary. Like, what would he say if we sat down in front of him? Like, would we make it? And he told us that what he's looking for when they're arguing and when they're talking, the number one thing that leads to divorce in marriage is contempt. All right. Contempt is talking to someone in a demeaning way, talking down on them as if they're stupid or they don't know anything. So
as if they're lesser.
As if they're
than
a
you.
lesser human being than you, not as intelligent. And so that's what he was looking for in marriage, either coming from the woman or the man. Like, were they talking as equals? Were they respecting one another? Or is one person talking with contempt? Were they talking as if the other person doesn't know anything, as if they're stupid, as if they're the smart ones? So that's what contempt is. And he said, ladies, that women tend to do this more than men.
I do this. I learned when she was talking, because it was, the meeting was from as a couple, and the woman was talking about it, and she said that she used to say this kind of things to her husband. It's just kind of the way that we go about arguments. We truly do believe, and do not even believe, it's the reality, that we know more, and we kind of see
about
things,
relationships.
Yes. And we almost like, when we see issues, and we're kind of like, well, if you would change this, then we wouldn't have this issue. And so we're always trying to critique, because like, and it's almost like, whether or not you realize it, you do put levels to it. You put yourselves above, and you almost put the man below you, because you're like, I can see more than you can, which is contempt, and it does lead to issues. Which, when she said that, I was like, oh, oops.
And men, the number one thing that we need most is respect, right? So if our ladies are talking to us with contempt or disrespect, that's what irritates us the most. That's what makes us go crazy, right? So ladies out there,
lash out.
respect your men, and then men, love your ladies. You have to love on them. Love is not easy. It's not just a feeling. It's a commitment every day to care about the other person deeply and to really want the best for them. So along with that.
But the good news is about that, if you do find yourself in those positions, that does not necessarily mean that your relationship is going to fail. If you can realize that, address it, change it, moving forward. Which I was glad to hear, because I'm like, I'm not going to make it. Like, I'm like, I do that. Like, I'm like, I'm done.
When he said that, it both clicked in our minds, like, oh, like that's something that is a problem in our marriage.
Correct.
That's why I was with the drawer, because
it all kind of connects.
Because I'm not gonna lash back out. I'm not gonna say demeaning things. I'm not gonna curse or do any of that. So I didn't know how to respond when she was talking to me crazy. Back at you live.
Our camera died, so we had to go charge it. That's why the lighting probably looks a little different. But anyways, going straight back into what we were saying, one of the last things we were talking about is reality and versus perception. One of the things that they said that was really important was that whatever your significant other believes is their reality, and there is nothing that you can do about that.
Example, I do something and Ari says,
hurt my feelings.
You hurt my feelings because you were, I needed a different example. What was the example that he used?
Okay, for an example, if you did something that I thought was rude, that you didn't think was rude, and you had all of these explanations for, no matter what you think, my perception of it is reality. My reality is that what you have done is mean, and it is up to you to fix that so that I am not.
So really, men, just apologize. Just say you're sorry. Like, you may not have done anything wrong,
but you may have, and the woman may.
But her reality,
the bottom of her heart,
is that you did, and so you can't do nothing to change that. All you can do is deal with her reality at that present time. Apologize. Say I love you. Buy her flowers. If you want to be nice and you want to like give a kind gesture, go take her to the spa for a day.
There you
go.
Buy her food gift cards and flowers.
Just food.
And dogs. And horses.
I wouldn't go buying her dogs just because you gotta do that for the next.
You can never ever go wrong with the dog. Buy her a dog.
You could go wrong with the dog.
But you couldn't, It's just win-win.